Hello and welcome to Unboxed, the podcast that dives deep into the world of custom packaging and innovative brand experiences. In each episode, we'll be exploring the latest trends, innovations, and best practices in the design and packing industry, and then taking a look at how they can help businesses like yours to create memorable and impactful brand experiences. I'm your host, Sam Johnston. Let's get started. Vicky's the vice president at Merchant Boxes, and they're doing some wicked stuff. So we wanted to get them on as our sponsor and as the first podcast guest. And we're going to be doing this in a standardized 5-question format. So you, the listener, if you want to hear that same question answered by multiple different executives in the brands that you're interested in hearing from, you can skip to that part in the podcast in the chapter, and we'll extract those for you in other platforms. But those questions will be, number one, what inspired our listener to get into the custom packaging design or branding industry, and how do they get their start in the field? Number two will be, how does custom packaging in particular contribute to creating a unique brand experience for their clients, and what are some of the effective strategies that they've seen for achieving this? Number three will be, can you share any success stories or maybe some case studies or other businesses that have transformed their brand through custom packaging and design work? And we'll talk through those. Number four will be, what are some of the biggest challenges or roadblocks that businesses face when it comes to custom packaging and how they can overcome that, as well as any branding challenges that they have? And last but not least will be, how do they see the future of custom packaging and branding evolving in the next, say, 5 to 10 years? And what should you, the listener, and other businesses be doing to stay ahead of the curve? So we'll get started with number one. So Mickey, great to have you on board. And could you tell the listeners what inspired you to get into the custom packaging industry, and how did you get started in the field?
Well, sure. So originally I was a graphic designer, happy to create everything that I could digitally. And then one day I was able to work on a project that I was applying the graphics to the templates for actual packaging, and to see my design not just be something that lives in the digital world, but to see it become something that I could feel and hold and see it target. It was really inspiring. It's fun and interesting. And that was kind of like the bug. I was bit by the packaging bug, and I was fascinated ever since.
Brilliant. And what has your journey been like? What sort of organizations have you worked in? You know, what was that from beginning to where you are today look like?
Sure. I went to an art school, so I had that as kind of a step into that direction. But I've worked for printers and with brands, so I've kind of been on both sides of it. I understand the restraints and the constraints of the physical world, but then I also I understand the excitement and uniqueness that a design firm or an agency can bring, and they just push the limits. And then from the physical side, the manufacturing side, you just want to try to capture the idea that they're trying to express, and then really make it something that can actually be produced in real life. And being able to have seen it from both sides, the customer side, the manufacturing side, and even the design side is interesting perspective that I don't think everybody has. It's been a fun place for me to be.
That's awesome. And you're one of the vice presidents at Merchant Boxes. So tell us a little bit about that and what your contribution is to these projects that are happening.
Sure. Merchant Boxes is still growing as a newer company, but my role is more of a sourcing and resource for getting everything and anything from anywhere. I also am very involved in keeping customers happy, and that's really a big passion of mine too, is to be able to connect with someone that is also looking for packaging that I'm passionate about. So being able to connect somebody with the packaging that they have been dreaming about and want, and overcome a lot of obstacles to try to get is a lot of fun. It's a great driver for me.
Love that. Yeah, and I've heard it said in some meetings that if you can imagine it, we can find it and create it. I don't think it would be unfair to say that you've probably got one of the most widespreading and vast networks for sourcing on the planet, right? The amount of different types of materials and sourcing equipment and stuff that you can get hold of is unprecedented. Would that be right?
Yeah, and I think really a lot of it comes from the fact that I worked in home entertainment for so long. The deadlines are very fast. The ideas are very crazy, big sky. ideas, and then to try to bring them down into something that can be actually manufactured within such a short, limited time. It really set the stage for me as a sourcing guy for all kinds of weird and unique things, and it just helped me build my virtual Rolodex of suppliers out to all over the world.
Fantastic. Well, if they can dream it, then you can make it happen. That's good.
I will.
And I think that kind of draws us on to the next question here, which is some of our listeners here, they might be in startups, they might be in medium or even enterprise organizations, and they're looking for a little bit of insight from industry leaders into how can things like custom packaging or really extending brand experiences from whether it's on site or whether it's online into the client's home and into their hands, how can custom packaging contribute to creating a unique brand experience? And what are some of the most effective strategies you've seen for people achieving this?
I think it's a great point. Your packaging is really the best long-term marketing investment there is. Billboards and TV commercials and all kinds of advertisements and stuff are here and then gone, where packaging is the one thing that is there consistent throughout the entire experience. When you go to the store, or you receive it from Amazon or wherever, however you're getting the product. The package is the one thing that you're holding. It's the first thing you're seeing. It's the last thing that you see as you use the product. If it's a daily type of thing, you're seeing that repeated every single day. So I think being able to get your packaging to the best spot that it can possibly be is the most important thing for any brand. And the consistency of the frequency, I guess, that the consumer gets to have with the relationship with that packaging is it's just so important, because it is the one thing that is there all the time, and there's no reason for you not to spend not necessarily the money, but the time to make sure that it's right, that it has the right information, that it has the right message, that it has the right feel, and that it's also telling the story that you want it to. And there's plenty of room on every box or bag or bottle, jar, whatever, to give a little bit of information. And if there isn't a lot of room, then you can always add like a QR code or something, so that you can continue that story more online or in another area that isn't as space constrained.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think there's so much opportunity, whether it's kind of offering education, whether it's even offering entertainment. I've seen packaging being used to provide even like another solution. Like if it's a package that's specifically geared towards a new parent, maybe the package has another use for the child or something like that.
Sure.
And then even sort of mission orientated packages that not necessarily that the package provides another tool or another story, but what it does do, it matches and aligns with the values of the brand and with the tribe of customers that they represent. So it might be sustainability or eco-friendly, and the materials and how the packaging is built really aligned with those types of things. And I think question 3 here, it makes a lot of sense next, which is, can you share any success stories or maybe case studies of businesses or people within Merchant Boxes that have transformed their brand through the custom packaging and design plays?
Sure. And I think that's a great way to approach it, is especially when there's a younger brand. They're trying to do things that can set themselves apart from the crowd, and elevating your packaging is a great way to separate yourself. And I think it's one of the easier things that you can do that has the most impact. You can spend tons of money on all kinds of other advertising and marketing, and it still doesn't necessarily get you the same results, especially with a budget, that you could by just enhancing the look that you have on the shelf.
That's awesome.
I think a lot of younger brands for sure have used that type of a methodology to at least achieve initial success, and then you can always pare your packaging back over the years. But if you want to try to make a big impact out of the gate, I think starting off with nice custom packaging is definitely one of the best options you can have.
That's a great tip there for startup businesses, or even just businesses that are bringing a new solution to market and they want to make an impact when they do that.
New products for sure, or even for holidays or whatever. If you make a change and elevate that packaging, you're going to get a lot more attention.
Amazing. Well, question 4 here is, what are some of the biggest challenges maybe or roadblocks that businesses face when it comes to custom packaging or branding, and how can they overcome them?
unpredictability is probably the biggest thing. Nobody expected we would have a pandemic that would cause so many weird disruptions in the supply chain. And I think really that's one of the biggest struggles in general, is just to get your packaging to a consistent point and then maintain. And when all these things are coming at us and changing the world that we're in, it can definitely affect the way that our packaging is done, the lead times for them, the materials that we get for them. And I think being able to have a robust supply chain with multiple layers of backups, but then also to just have a good partner, so that you're working with people that are smart enough to understand that there are these issues that you have to be aware of. And hopefully I'm thinking ahead, and I can help guide you through the challenges. If we notice that there's an expensive increase in tariffs on glass or metal or some other thing, maybe we're paying attention to that, and we can get ahead of it and change materials in a timely fashion, where we're not going to have to be subject to whatever those weird things are that pop up, or long lead times, or whatever it is. Just smart to have a good partner that's going to help you navigate these weird times.
Yeah, that's great advice. And those things will happen, as much as we don't want them to. If it can, it will. But having a great partner on board, like you're saying, that just is their business, and it's their job to know that sort of information ahead of schedule. What a great asset. Well, the last and final question here, but I think it's quite an interesting one, is how do you see the future of custom branding and custom packaging evolving over the next, say, 5 to 10 years? And what could businesses be doing today to prepare themselves for tomorrow?
I think everybody's going to say, sustainability is such a big thing that's going to adjust the way that we think of things. And I don't think that's anything that is different from what the answer would have been 5 or 10 years ago. Maybe there are different nuances to it, but everybody's always looking for ways to better their packaging, but then also to be as responsible as they can. And sustainability is a big part of that. If we are able to pay attention to the simple things that we can do to be a good steward to the planet while still making really nice packaging. OG materials like wood and paper and metal and glass are super easy to obtain and to recycle and to reuse. And when we continue using those type of things, we're always going to have a nice sustainability footprint. But then pay attention to those new items that are coming out all the time. There's like mycelium packaging and bamboo and all kinds of seaweed and algae, and there's just a lot of different ways to approach what's coming. And maybe we don't jump into the newest trend every time there's a trend, because that can get really expensive. But use the OG materials. Watch out for those new things that are on the horizon that could be a good fit for your brand or for just sustainability in general. And pay attention to those and make a pivot when it makes sense. I think sustainability is going to be something that doesn't go away, and it's always going to be something for us to pay attention to.
That's great advice. Well, before we end it here, Mickey, thanks so much for giving the time. Is there any way that people can get in contact with you or follow you? How should they reach out if they wanted to?
Definitely, I'm available at Merchant Boxes on LinkedIn, and I'm sure we can drop a contact info in the.
Yeah, definitely. We'll put it in the notes. So if anyone has any questions, hopefully they're related to packaging or branding, not just random stuff, but hey, we'll put a contact in there. And that's it for the episode of Unboxed today. Thanks to our guest, Mickey, for sharing the insights and expertise with us. It's been awesome. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, leave us a review wherever you're listening to this. It means a lot to us and the algorithm overlords above us. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes, or you'd like to be a guest, you can reach us on an email at unboxed@merchantboxes.com. Until next time, keep thinking outside the box and creating unforgettable brand experiences. Have a good day. Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. It was sponsored by Merchant Boxes. Merchant Boxes provide custom packaging to large businesses and small creators that customers love. If you are looking for award-winning custom package designs that make your business and products stand out from the competition, click the link in the show notes to find out more.